So clearly, it's been a while since I've done a Facebook Live because this completely looks different than what I am used to. So if I'm doing this correctly, I know that there usually is a lag in folks being able to see this. So I'm going to give it a second. I know some folks have asked for a link to this. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Oh, here we go. I'm able to find a link, I think. Let me know that this is working. Could somebody come in the comments for me? Hey, Chantel. Hey, beautiful cousin. All right. So I think this is working. Thank y'all for commenting. A couple of things. I'm not about to apologize for how I look, but I'm just keeping it real with y'all today that this is not something that's scripted. This is not something that I even have notes for. This is not something that I even planned. But I'm coming to y'all today for a couple of reasons. Um, and I also want to have this disclaimer. If someone is watching this because they're looking to get some tea or some dirt, that's not my intention today. So I'm not interested in that in this forum. So I just want to be clear about that. But something happened over the last, I would say, the last couple of weeks, but the last 48 hours have been really telling. And it has rocked the spiritual community um, in a couple of ways. It's been painful for people who are survivors and who have been abused and harmed to have to justify their harm that they've received and prove that they have been abused. And so having to relive that and then not be believed, that has been rocking. It's been rocking people who have been sitting back on the sidelines saying, I told you so, and it's about time that y'all have listened. It's been rocking people who were deceived and who were being led by this person and having to reconcile all of the feelings that happens when one is experiencing abuse, harm, manipulation, gaslighting. I'm coming to y'all not because I'm interested again in rehashing that, but I want to share a little bit about what has been on my heart as I've moved and as I've navigated, as I'm holding space, as I'm dealing with the inbox messages, as I'm dealing with people who are confused and hurt by this whole thing. And the thing that keeps coming up to me is integrity. What is integrity? How do you move in integrity, both as an individual and as a leader? So when I think about what integrity is, the first thing is it is alignment between your actions and your words with what your core beliefs and values are. And I've had to sit with myself over these last few days and ask myself, am I moving in integrity? How am I moving in integrity? And where are the gaps between the places that I am moving in integrity? Because one of my most key values and purposes in life is to hold space for Black women. That is who I am. That's who I've always been as a leader. That's who I've always been as a person, is around holding space for Black women. And so, as some of these allegations have come out, and I've watched my own behavior, I'm not going to call in about anybody else, watching my own behavior and looking to see how do I want to make sense of all of this, I've had to ask myself, in what ways am I moving in integrity with my own values? And why am I feeling conflicted about my own actions and the actions of people around me? And when I realized that I felt a tension, that was a sign for me that something is out of integrity. That integrity is not there. And I share that part because I want to share that to be a lesson for anybody, that whenever you feel insecure, or you feel that tension, or you feel that gut around, this is not who I am, this is not how I behave, this is not how my values are set up, to pay attention to that, because that's a sign about something might be out of integrity with you. Not for you, but there's a ping that something is out of integrity. I invite everyone who is experiencing this right now to go back and think about, what are your core values? What are your core values as a human being? And if you aren't sure about what your core values are, this is the perfect opportunity for you to figure out what your core values are. And then to ask yourself, am I moving in places that are out of integrity with that? Am I behaving in ways that are out of integrity with that? Am I allowing people around me who are out of integrity with that? And I'm going to talk about that, because it's very easy, and I've done it too, so this is not a knock on anyone, but it's very easy to see yourself as separate than others. It's very easy for you to say, well, I know this person is behaving this way, but I'm not doing it, so therefore I'm still in integrity. But a couple of things happen when you allow people in your space that are out of integrity with your own values. One, it creates a source of conflict, a total and regular sense of conflict for yourself when you are in places that you know that are out of integrity with your values. The other thing that it has an opportunity to do is to influence the way that you behave, influence your boundaries, influence the things that you believe, and really put you out of integrity. It doesn't mean that you're not smart. It doesn't mean that you're not capable. It doesn't mean that you have weakness or there's something wrong with you, but it's very easy to become like the people that you are around. There's this quote that I always loved, and I can't remember who it's from. I don't know why I want to say Naruto, but I could be completely making that up. But it says, show me who you walk with and I'll show you who you are. I don't want to try to butcher it in Spanish. Show me who you walk with and I'll show you who you are. What it means is that you are the sum of the people that you keep company with and that you keep space with. That is why we say, even in Hoodoo, that we are so careful about the people that we allow in our home, because we know everybody's energy ain't for you. And so I implore you also to be careful with the energy that you keep up around you, your psychic space, your spiritual space, your emotional space, because it's the same principle. Show me who you walk with and I show you who you are. And so I've had to sit with myself and ask myself, is this who I am? Is this a representation of my best? Is this a representation of my values? And I've had to say no. I've had to say no. The other reason why I've had to say no is because of my second value around leadership. Let me tell you what leadership is. A lot of times people think that leadership is just the transactional or the managerial functions of the role. Leadership, often people think it's the people who just signs the check, or the person who is capable to do XYZ program, or the person who is just able to do a particular work or function. But leadership is that, but so much more. Leadership is not just around technical skills. Leadership is also around adaptive skills. It's around, how do you model behavior for the people around you? It's around, how do you hold emotional space for a community? It's around, how do you not be swayed by the little stuff, by the petty stuff, because you know that you have positional power. In positional power, for those of you guys that might be unfamiliar with the term, is that just by virtue of you being a leader, you have a sense of power and authority. And oftentimes you cannot behave in the same way that everybody else does, because by virtue of your position, by virtue of that power, you can influence people by making them feel weak, small, etc. You can influence people by creating yes men around you or creating a mob mentality of people around you. And you can influence people simply because your position allows you some not just credibility, but really influence on the things that happen in people's lives. So when you move as a leader with integrity, you are constantly aware of your positional power, and you use that power to heal, to uplift, to care, to let people be vulnerable, to hold space for them, to uplift and to move and to change in positive ways. And if you can't do those things, if you can't do those things, then you don't get to be a leader. You get to be someone with a specific skill set, and those are two different things. Another thing that I know about leadership, because I've been doing this for a long time, beyond being a principal for 8 years, beyond that, I've ran multiple organizations. I've been in community and have been at the helm of communities literally since I was 14 years old. And what I know as part of being a leader is that there are times when you have to reflect on your behavior. Not there are times, it is constantly a source of self-interrogation. It's constantly a source of saying, how do I get better for my people? How do I model behavior for my people? And it's about going within. It's about going within. It's not listening to the voices that come from the masses. It's around constantly interrogating yourself. And when you interrogate yourself, you see that there is a balance between impact and intention. And as a leader, there's a lot of times that you do things with the best intention, or sometimes even a careless intention, or not even being aware of your intention at all, and you hurt people and you harm them. Not because you meant it, but that was still the net effect of your behavior. I told a story to some people recently about how when I was a beginning principal, I had a group of people that I knew were being super negative on my staff. They were being petty, they were being messy, they were really causing a lot of drama, and they didn't know that I knew, but I was aware of how it was causing this rift in my community, and I handled it the wrong way. On this particular staff memo, I wrote a staff memo about how basically watch the people that you're around and think about what kind of person are you in the community. Are you the willow tree? Are you the whatever kind of tree? I don't even remember what it was. But when I said, and I thought I was justified in doing this because it was the right thing to do. I was calling out bad behavior. But I didn't know then that I know now that there's a difference between right behavior and honorable behavior. And my actions at that time were not honorable because I was not aware of how my positional power can hurt and harm people. And I didn't go around listening. I didn't move through and listen to the feedback. Because here's the thing that another one of my mentors always teaches me, that feedback is a gift. So when somebody's telling you something, even when it pisses you off, even when you feel defensive, even when you feel like the feedback is wrong, it is still a gift because it is giving you insight about something you need to interrogate in yourself, or it's giving you insight about how your people are hurting. And what a leader does with that, regardless of their intention, regardless of what they meant to do, they atone for it. They recognize that impact is just as important as intention. And they say, I'm sorry. They make amends to their community. They name the ways that they're going to do better, and they move in integrity with doing better. That's what a leader does. A leader doesn't get to sit back and be defensive. A leader doesn't get to sit back and throw work at anybody. A leader doesn't get to sit back and discredit. A leader doesn't get to sit back and be a victim. A leader knows that they are gifted with power and authority and responsibility. That's what being a leader is. It's about responsibility. Because when I tell you, the money isn't always enough for the weight that you carry as a leader. So you don't become a leader for the money. There are plenty of other jobs I can be doing that pay way more than the responsibility that I have to bear as a leader. A leader means that you are integrity with your gift of healing and moving a community forward. A leader acts honorably, not always right. And what it means to be honorable, it means to walk in integrity. It means doing the harder right thing. It means interrogating yourself. It means eating humble pie. It means listening and caring. It means atoning for your wrongs. It means inviting people in. It means listening and knowing that you are even less than the sum of all the people around you. It means knowing that the greatest gift is the privilege to be in vulnerable spaces with people. That's what being a leader is. And that's what it means to move in integrity. Heavy are the shoulders of the leader. It is. So I say to people who have been under someone who is not a leader, who has been under someone who is not in integrity, to breathe, to remember who you are, to remember that your gifts and your position are not by accident, that your community is not by accident, that weak sauce does not flow. That's not my quote. I want you to know that fear is a part of our ego. It's not who we are. I want to remind you that you have all the tools to navigate this. I want you to know that you have your Ori to guide you. That's your head, your right mind, your sound mind, the spirit that governs your personal self. You have your ancestors, and ain't nobody stronger than that. You have the answers within you. And do not allow fear to replace those things that you already have. I ask all of us to take some time and interrogate for ourselves, what are our personal values? Really write that out. What are your personal values? And I want you to evaluate the places and the ways that you have violated your own boundaries, that you have moved out of integrity. And I'm not saying that to tell you to do that to come for a place of shame. I say that because we need to tell the story so that we can forgive ourselves. One of the most important lessons that I've learned about forgiveness is that forgiveness is for you and for you only. What I mean by that is the only person you need to forgive is yourself for believing that you are beyond humanity, for believing that there was something flawed or broken about you, for believing that things are your fault, for believing that you don't get to be human as you make mistakes. Only person you need to forgive is yourself. And Bishop Desmond Tutu teaches us that there are 4 parts of forgiveness. I just taught this last week. The first thing that you have to do when you forgive and you forgive yourself is to tell the whole story, the unadulterated story. So I invite you to write down the whole story of how you came to this and how you experienced this. Tell the whole truth. Tell the whole truth. The second thing you do in the arc of forgiveness is you name the places that you were harmed and that you had pain. So you name the hurt. The third part of forgiveness is you decide, I'm sorry, I'm skipping a step. The third part of forgiveness is you acknowledge the humanity that you have and that all people have. All of us are complicated and complex. All of us have the ability to be good and bad. All of us have the ability to do what works, what doesn't work. All of us have the ability to have effective behavior and maladaptive behavior. All of us have that humanity. So the third part is acknowledging your humanity and that you're allowed to be human. And then the fourth thing is that you get to decide after doing all of that whether or not you want to restore a relationship, or restore a place, or restore a position, or you release it and move on. You get to decide that. So I want you all to tell your own stories of integrity with this specific situation. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I want you to know that I'm doing that work for myself. And I feel good. I feel okay. I felt all the feelings before. I felt the why me. I felt the not this shit again. I felt the betrayal. I felt all of those things. All of those things. I felt anger. I felt defensive. I felt worried. I felt like I wanted to do harm for people that I know have been harmed. I felt embarrassed. I felt all of those things. But today, I'm good because I know who I am. I know the steps that I have to go through to resolve some things in myself. I can name that I participated in something that was out of integrity with me, that was not aligned to my values, and I can commit to doing better. I can learn from this. We all can learn from this. We're not going to be deterred. This does not change our religion. It does not change everything we know about our ancestors. It doesn't change any of that. It changes how we can get better and we can get stronger. As I sign off, go ahead and tag somebody that needs to hear this. This is public, and I'm okay with that. I'm loved, I'm protected. I ask you all to hold space for the multiple people who have been harmed for this. They need y'all. They need y'all badly. They are hurting. They are reeling. They are feeling so much fear. They're feeling so much fear of attack right now. And I need all of us to wrap our arms around these people. I need all of us to lift them up in prayer. I need all of us to hold space for them because they deserve that. They deserve our shield of protection. That's what Mama Harriet would have did. That's what all of our ancestors would have done, that we form a circle around our own. And I need us all to do that. I love y'all. I love y'all. I thank you for listening to me. I thank you for trusting me with your stories. I thank you for allowing me to hold space for y'all. Tag somebody who needs to see this, and I love y'all.